Welcome to the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts Marc and Sean Castles, coming to you from Radio Waves Studios in New York City. Now, let's kick off the show.
Well, hi again, everybody. This is indeed the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands. I'm Marc. My co-host is Sean Castles. And today we're continuing our little peek into Manchester City fandom. This is part 2 of our conversation with New York Sky Blues organizer Spencer Schwartz, and we'll hear from some other Man City Ultras who we caught up with at Amity Hall Downtown on a Derby day, no less.
And Amity Hall Downtown throws a great experience. I mean, if you like having fun, if you like drinking, if you like being in a festive atmosphere where people are singing and chanting and really into the game, Amity Hall Downtown is the place to go to. I mean, they were singing constantly. Can't Start a Fire, the Erling Haaland songs. There were so many chants that were sung throughout. It was like the singing was constant. There was never really a down time. There was always constant chatter. And as soon as things started feeling slow or that people were getting quiet, a few people would start drumming up the next chant to listen in on. We even got a chance to see Mr. Phil Foden back in action. He got he's back in form, and he got the first goal in the derby. And then we had a brace. Earlier we heard Barbara talk about her Haaland love. Erling Haaland had a brace. He had 2 goals that game. I mean, people were cheering like crazy. There's an Erling Haaland song they were singing throughout it. It was really just a wonderful atmosphere. What did you think of your time there? I know it was standing only and my feet were sore after, but what did you think of that?
You know what? Because of the excitement of the crowd and everybody there is rooting for the same team, right? They even have had to ask people very politely showing up in the opponent's jerseys for the sake of everybody on hand, most especially the opposing fans, please don't stay here today. Now, there are some times where the opposition is welcome. Obviously, Derby Day, not one of them. And I think just feeding off the energy, honestly, my feet were fine until I started walking back to the Port Authority to take the bus home.
But the Dyed in the Wool Blues, they were there back then.
Well, Spencer, how do you explain that? How do you explain? Because around here, when teams are going bad, fans, by and large, will stay away in droves. That is the American sports fan psyche. They don't want to support a team that's garbage.
Yep. Well, also because the tickets are so expensive here. Mm-hmm. It's much more affordable in the UK.
Right.
Even concessions are more affordable in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. So a beer at MetLife Stadium, for example, could be $15, $16, $17.
Yeah, it could get up to 20 if you're going to get a cocktail. It's like 25.
Madison Square Garden or wherever. But at Wembley or at the Etihad or Old Trafford or wherever, £8, £10, whatever.
Huh.
And so it's more affordable. Now, the other thing that we have to remember is there they call it sport because mainly there is just one sport, soccer, football. Mm-hmm. Sure, they have tennis, they have cricket, they have other things, but here we have sports. We have basketball, baseball, American football, ice hockey, and now MLS. And then not to mention all the women's leagues, the WNBA, the NWSL, the PWHL. So there's a plethora of different teams that you could follow. And we also have to remember that the major sports leagues in North America, there are 32 teams a league, 30 to 32 teams in a league, 50 states, 330 million Americans, not including Canada. And that's not to say that they're going to be our 51st state or anything, but there are a lot of sports deserts, which is why college football is such a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So other people can kind of there's a team in every town, every village, every city. And there are multiple ones in cities. So there's also the opportunity of being promoted all the way up to the Premier League one day. You could start your own club. You guys can start your own club in England. And if you have enough money, if you have enough success building a stadium, doing all these things, you can start from ground zero and move all the way up to the Premier League. You can't do that here.
Next episode of Ultra World,
we've got to get our own team. Speaking of that, though, of how each city has its own team, because that's a lot of what we want. We want to hit upon in this is how the fans come from. It's very localized, moving outwards, as opposed to a National Football League team where Dallas Cowboys fans are everywhere and Yankees fans are everywhere. That it grows from the city itself and outwards. Did you get a chance when you've gone back to Manchester? Did you get a chance to watch any games at the local bars there? How is that different from the experience here? Did you ever get a chance to that?
No, I've only watched. City matches in England at a bar once, and that was when I was in London. I was there last December for the Crystal Palace game, which was the 2-2 draw at Selhurst Park. And then there was a Champions League game against Juventus at San Siro, I think, in Italy. And I watched with the local supporters in London. There must have been maybe like 10 people there because it was 8 p.m. on a Wednesday or a Tuesday in the middle of winter, Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them went to the game. A lot of them, it's basically a hop, skip, and a jump. They're in England. They could go to all the Champions League games if they really wanted to. I'm not saying that it's an inexpensive thing for them to do, but they certainly could if they wanted to. It's kind of like flying to Boston from New York or D.C. or Baltimore or wherever. Maybe a little further than that in some cases, but yeah.
I want to circle back to one other thing that's talking back to the 501c3. So I'm making sure I got this because there's one thing we didn't talk about that I remember very clearly is you guys have raffles at the event. Does that happen a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about that and what people can expect coming to the events and how they get involved in that way too?
Sure. So New York Sky Blues started doing the raffles at the Mad Hatter. It's a 50-50 raffle in which half the proceeds go to the winner, half the proceeds go to charity. You see a lot of that at sports games now, like Jets and Giants are doing that. The Yankees and Mets are doing that here in New York. And it really started because one of our founding members, Steve Jepson, Jeppo, he was diagnosed with ALS. Lou Gehrig's disease, or if you're in the UK listening, motor neuron disease is what you call it in the UK. And he was 48, 49 at the time, and we were using those funds to help pay for the huge change in the life of this family that we had come to know so well. It was, Steve and his wife Pauline and their 2 sons, and they needed a new car that could be wheelchair accessible. They needed wheelchair accessibility in their house, including those little elevator things for going upstairs. Mm-hmm. And we also were working with New York City and the community to help fund footballing initiatives in the New York City area for underprivileged kids, particularly in Harlem and the Bronx, paying for their equipment, paying for their jerseys, coaching time, all that. And that's a huge thing because after-school programs, as you know, keep getting cut time in, time out. And to me, there's nothing scarier than a bored kid with nothing to lose. So giving kids some structure, teaching them team building and all those things, that's great. And a bunch of those kids became members of ours. over the years.
That's a nice full circle
That's
there.
fantastic.
It really is. And some of our members were the coaches or are the coaches. The raffle's something we've done since then. And we also sell merchandise like T-shirts and scarves and hoodies and stuff like that. And all the proceeds to that go to our charity efforts as well.
And you're wearing one of them right now. MCFC. I remember seeing that at the that you guys were giving those or selling those as well there.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of our merch. It's a shirt based on the subway, where it says MCFC with the MC and the F train logos. And the MC and the F trains are actually very local, just 2 or 3 blocks away from Amity Hall.
Right.
Yep.
So that just brings it even more full circle. But the main thing that we've been helping with is an incredible organization called New York Common Pantry. And they're a food bank that feeds millions of meals a year. And especially now with cuts to food aid programs. And since COVID especially, they need that more than ever, with economic downturns and the cost of living crisis in New York City and the surrounding areas, to help these people who are down and out get a little bit of help. It means the absolute world to all of us. And that, to me, means as much as anything we're watching on the television.
Yeah.
If not more.
No, it is. It's not only are you enjoying yourself, but you're paying it forward out there. Like the good nature, the good times are you're paying it forward. When participating in these events there too, so people can also feel good. Hey, I'm having a good time, but I'm also doing some good.
But you could also justify, oh yeah, I'm getting drunk watching soccer at 10 in the morning. Oh, I'm doing it for a good cause.
You can justify anything, I guess, but it's a nice little thing that you go out to the bar and you can be like, honey, I'm sorry, I was out late and got drunk there, but I was giving a little back to charity.
That's right.
There too.
We were doing a good deed.
Doing a good deed.
And other supporters clubs in America followed in our footsteps, not as official 501c3 nonprofits registered with the government, but they've done toy drives. Shout out to the Twin Citizens out in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. I know they're doing a lot of great work. I know Dallas, Blue Moon Dallas in Texas, they've been doing some great work with the community as well, and a bunch of others all over the country. We now have a supporters club in Honolulu, Hawaii.
We need to go there. Do we have a budget to get out?
Let's go.
I will never, ever complain about the 7:30 a.m. kickoffs ever again, because on the West Coast that's 4:30 in the morning for them. I think it's 2:30.
Yep. Sure is.
It's a still staying at the bar.
moly.
Staying at the bar late. It's actually probably even worse when it's the 11:30 game or the 12:30 game, because it's like smack dab right at 4:30.
Yeah, and shout out to our friends in Australia and Japan and China who are doing it hardcore there, in Indonesia and Malaysia as well. We have friends from all of them, and they're watching, basically Sunday night, Monday
I was
morning.
Say they're watching tomorrow.
Yeah.
They already know what happened.
Yeah,
Send us the scores.
yeah.
But that's great. So it's not just in New York City, but for people who want to enjoy these games, it's all over the country. You can look up some of these other supporter groups and join. Well, we're here in New York, and we get the pleasure of going to Amity, and eventually the Malt. What is it?
The Malt House.
The Malt House.
Financial District.
For those not in the New York City area, it is you can look up the local supporters club.
It's
and
as
enjoy.
simple as a Google search or on Twitter, X, or a million other platforms. Instagram,
Hashtag
not
the blue-
Snapchat, apparently.
Well, not for me, but shout out to Blue Sky and Threads. But yeah, mancity.com, I think /supporters clubs. I think that's where it is. But just look up Manchester City supporters clubs. There are supporters clubs all over the U.S. and Canada and even Mexico now. And if you don't find one, if there isn't one near you, you can actually create one on your own.
There you go.
And if you need help with that, reach out to us at the New York Sky Blues, and I will personally make sure that you get the help that you have in order to get your feet off the ground.
And throw the handles out here for our listeners. What's the IG and the social handles?
Sure. Our handles are uniform across the board. New York Sky Blues, NEWYORKSKYBLUES. And then you can find us at NewYorkSkyBlues.com as well.
What I'm hearing is we can start a fan club and we can start a club. So if you're going to join a fan club, join the Sean and Marc Club. The name is still to be decided.
We're TBD.
But yeah, we can call them the TBDs for now.
I like that.
That could
I like
work.
that on
Yeah.
the TBD.
TBDFC.
Right, everything's got to be FC.
Yeah. But yeah, you could do that. And hey, you start your own supporters club with it. You know? I mean, listen, anyone could do it. If we could do it, if you had told me 20 years ago when I was watching Ayo Berkovic and Sunji Hai and Danny Tiato and Sylvain Destin that we were going to be winning the treble and we'd be Centurions, the only English club to hit 100 points in the Premier League, and then the only team to win, at least the only men's English team to win the domestic quadruple if you count the Community Shield.
Oh, Community Shield.
I mean, United does, so why can't we? I would have asked what kind of drugs you were on. I mean, it's really incredible to see that. And of course, that takes a lot of money and that takes a lot of investment. But I think that city has done, on the most part, really good business, and they've been really smart about it, and they've been great with the international fan base. I hope that the local fans in Manchester feel that they're getting the same amount of support and love that we've been feeling, and because at least for me, I feel that you can't lose touch of your local fan base and your local roots. They should always come first.
And Sean, on Derby Day, so loud inside Amity Hall, we had to go out and actually stand on West 3rd Street to talk to some of these ultra fans like Barbara and Carolina and Ryan.
That's right. It was a great atmosphere. So we got a chance to step out. And first off, we talked to Carolina, who's from Ecuador, who came all the way in to watch the game. And she's been a diehard fan, recently went to Manchester City, to Etihad to see the games. And just hearing her talk, you just feel the passion. All right. What team are you a fan of and why?
I'm a Manchester City fan because I love everything about it. I mean, I became a fan back when Mancini took over and Balotelli came in. I was a big fan of Balotelli in his Inter days, and I just fell in love. I mean, everything about that era was amazing. We started winning games. We ended up being 5th for the first time in forever. And then we started winning titles, which was great, but also the community is amazing. I mean, we come here to the Amity Hall or to the Mole House every now and then, and everybody's so welcoming. It's amazing to watch the games with all these people. So,
in a few words, a few adjectives, what are the characteristics of a Man City fan? What separates them from other fandoms?
I mean, like I said, we're very friendly. We love the banter as well. And we are passionate. I mean, we've seen this team go through so much shit. Sorry for that.
Curse away.
Yeah, and now doing the fact that we've been doing great in the last few years, it's just amazing. You saw the underdog become the top dog, and I wouldn't change that about it.
Yeah, you got the trouble there, for new fans who are coming in there, they'll see that trouble and they'll see only winners. They don't know the pain and suffering.
They don't know the pain that we've been through, right? Making enough points just not to be relegated. I have people that have been lifelong fans, that they're Mancunians as well, and every time we hit the 50 points, they're celebrating because we're not going to get relegated, even though we've been winning title after title right now.
And so you were just in Manchester, am I right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how it's just a little different in Manchester. What is it like there watching games there?
Oh, it's great. I think the culture revolves around the football there, which is something that I miss from my hometown, Ecuador. Everything revolves around what game is going on that weekend. You walk around in the streets and everybody's wearing kits, as in here, you just come here to have a little bit of the community sense, but there it was great. We were lucky enough to go to the Mary D's bar in there, and everybody was so welcoming. They were like, oh, you guys are from New York, and everybody's like, you'll have a pint on us or something like that. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to be there. And it was really a dream come true to go to the Etihad.
I bet. Was that your first time at the Etihad?
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Amazing. We did the stadium tour, and it was just so amazing to be there.
Who did you see play there?
City Tottenham, which is kind of the game that we never win, but
It's a good game, though.
it's a great game.
It's
a
really
great
good game. So what does match day look like for you? What does a normal match day look like for you?
I live in Long Island, so depending on the time, I do have to wake up like 3 hours in advance. So when we play at 7:30, I usually leave my house at 5:50 to get here. So it's a little hectic, but I love coming here. Right now, I have to leave at halftime. I have something to do. So I was debating whether to come or not, but it's a big game, and I needed to be here today.
This is a big game. We're recording this during the Derby here because this is an evergreen piece here. What does the Derby mean to you?
Everything. I mean, we naturally hate United, so winning this game means everything to us.
We also had a chance to talk to Barbara Sassam, who's now a New York City local, but used to be coming from Brazil, who is a giant Erling Haaland fan. That is how she got back into soccer, I would say. What team are you a fan of and why?
So I'm a Manchester City team fan, and why? Well, just so you understand on an overall, I'm from Brazil. I grew up in Brazil, and then I moved here about 9.5 years ago. So obviously I grew up with football, always loved it, used to play in high school. But when I moved here to the US, I kind of lost that part of me. And then the last World Cup happened, and after the last World Cup happened, I'm kind of like, okay, I want to get back in football, I want to see what's going on again. Let me see what kind of teams I can watch it over here, because I don't get to watch the teams that I grew up watching in Brazil. I don't get to watch those games over here. So Erling Haaland as being the best player in the world, in my opinion, the best player in the world at this moment, and being extra thirsty, total thirsty trap man, super hot. He got me into Man City, and it turns out that it's actually an amazing team. All the players are amazing, and then I started following them. I never stopped, and here we are.
And while it wasn't on Derby Day, I also had a chance to talk to a local actor, Ryan Pollock, who's also a very big Manchester City fan, before the Wolverhampton game. And funny enough, it was not only very loud in the game, but we stepped outside and there's a guy with a megaphone out there. So we had to find a spot to talk. But Ryan had a very interesting reason for wanting to be a Manchester City fan. What team are you a fan of and why?
I am a fan of Manchester City, and the why is actually pretty interesting. I grew up a Liverpool fan, and I was at my friend's house for a Champions League game, and Liverpool was losing, and he called his mother something he shouldn't have. He said, "Mom, you're being a bitch right now," and she was our favorite person. So I was like 14 at the time, 15 at the time. And so I realized on that day I had no allegiance to Liverpool, nor any other team. So I decided the team that he would hate the most for me to become a fan of, and that was Manchester City. And after that, once I grew into Manchester City, and then I started, gaining adult money, and I could buy things, and I bought the jerseys, and the logo just was what I liked, and after that it stuck, and ever since then I haven't been able to leave the team. So you can credit a Michael. I won't say his last name. You can credit Michael for me being a Manchester City fan instead of a Liverpool fan.
Michael can hear this a little later and be like, I'm the starter.
He's going to hear this later for sure. I'll send it to him for sure.
Awesome.
And, Man City, like so many of the Premier League teams, is really a mini United Nations. They've got so many internationals from different countries. Nobody right now from Denmark, but Schmeichel, the keeper back in the day, was. And as a result, fast forward to 2025, and we met Robert, who's a big Danish Man City fan.
Yeah, we had Robert was in town. He's a student at NYU, and he was looking for a place to watch the game. And he always, like all good Manchester, like any good fan, when your team has got its opening weekend or a big game, you want to go and join with him. So got a chance to talk to him outside on West 3rd Street. And what would you say are the characteristics of a Manchester City fan?
I'd say, as so many other football fans, it's a way to kind of feel in a community where you know that everyone supports the same club, and then also the pride in winning. I mean, sometimes it's like it can actually ruin your entire weekend if they lose or whatever. So that's kind of maybe not necessarily for a City fan, but for everybody, that's the thing you're looking forward to. So the characteristic is just that you really do care about this. For most people, at least.
They get the best players. The team actually cares about their fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you do? Do you go to many games, or do you just go out to the pub? What's your match day look like?
Well, I usually watch them at home. So I've just arrived in New York, and I've decided that I'll come down here and watch the games because that's a good way to meet people and also just watch the game in general. I have been to a few games in Manchester at the Etihad. So I've been to 3 games there, and then I've also been to one at home in Denmark when they came to Copenhagen. So I've been a handful of times, but generally I watch it at home with family, friends, alone sometimes, and now here.
And is there a big fan base for Manchester City in Denmark?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I know a few friends just randomly that are also City fans, so not because I've said anything or they've said something to me, just kind of met up after I became a fan, and then randomly they're also a fan, right? But yeah, I also know there are bars in Denmark and Copenhagen where City fans meet up just like here, so I think there's a pretty big fan base, and it's obviously growing now.
And speaking of possibly joining that big fan base, as an American, who doesn't have a team, why should I pick Manchester City as my team?
Well, the easy answer is that, except last season, they usually win, so it's quite a nice experience. But I'd also say the culture of Manchester City is something that, at least here the later years, maybe like half of my years as a fan, I've really looked into it, and the history as well. It's actually quite nice, and in Manchester as well, I've been a few times now, and it's a really nice city, and people are really friendly, so it's definitely also an opportunity to get closer to the club. I feel like City really do give an effort to allow people to come there and experience it. I can't really talk for other clubs, but I feel like some clubs are a bit more like globally, where it's just about getting as many fans as possible, and I feel City is a little bit more intimate in that sense.
And when you've traveled, because you've gone to Manchester City, you've gone to games, have you found the fan base to be open, welcoming?
Yep. I mean, I've been to a few games where we just kind of got the tickets ourselves and kind of arranged everything, and there people were really friendly and talked to each other. And then I've also been to one game through the Denmark and Norway Supporters Club, actually, where you kind of travel together and you stay at a little bar before the game, and then you go all like 20, 30 people together. So that was a little bit a different experience from the other times, but both types of experiences work as well, and really nice.
So there's Robert telling us also why you should be a City fan. And you talked to Ryan, too, about why you should be a fan of City.
Why should I be a fan of Manchester City?
Okay, so Manchester City has such a long history, and we've been up and down in our league. We've gone down to the championship before, and we're obviously back up, and we've been good. I like to think that a lot of people think that we're a bandwagon team, and it's funny that a lot of people don't see the history that we've had with where we've been. I became a fan, like I said, when I was probably 15 or 16 years old, and that was out of spite, personally. But now that I've learned the history of the team, it's amazing to see, why people, especially the history of Manchester, and there's a large history of people coming from contracting work, industrial work, and things like that in Manchester. And it's split, obviously, between Manchester United and Manchester City. So it's and Manchester United has kind of this prominent history of having a lot of money and doing great things because they've been so good. So a lot of people in the city have tended to be on their side. But with our success, and having our 7 championships in the last, the amount of time. It's
Treble.
been exactly, and then we got the treble as well. But everything that we've accomplished in the last, especially the last 10 years, but especially with everything that we've done in winning the Premier League as many times as we have, has been probably the thing that is the least about us, but the biggest thing that's going to stick out in history for us. So I think it's really the idea that our fans are, it parallels so much to New York City, especially, that we're doing this interview
Yankees.
in New York City, is, Yankees and Mets and like who actually sticks to a team. It's really just has to do with the family history and the big history behind City fans is it's always going to be the what we would call, the most blue collar people, the people that when we're in the lowest of times, we know it and we have chance for it and we know we're shit, when we are shit.
Yeah.
And we call it out. And no other team is going to call out when they're shit. Especially like when we're at the top of the league and we're having a bad match, we'll be the first team to chant that we're shit,
And we also had a chance to ask Carolina why we should become Manchester City fans. Why should they choose Manchester City?
Again, because not only have we been winning titles lately, we're also playing beautiful football under Pep Guardiola. And also the community here. Like, when I met the community of New York, we're all, like, everybody's so amazing. And here everybody's so welcoming. No matter where you come from, no matter what your religion, anything is, everybody welcomes you here. It's just come here and you have a sense of community, a sense of family.
Come in, have a great time, no matter what. It's match day, and it's just 3 hours of celebration.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a difference in demeanor between wins and losses? Walking out, you're still having a great time? Or?
I mean, we still have a great time. If we win, we take celebratory shots. If we lose, we drink to that too. No?
It's the right way. You're either drinking a celebration or drowning your sorrows.
And, Sean, we've talked about so many of these teams already, and some of them are happy just being at the top half of the table. Some of them want to avoid the relegation zone. Obviously, that's not the case when you talk about a blue blood team like Manchester City. And, of course, our resident astrologist, Scott Tajarian, touched on City's chances and their pedigree.
And then we've got the 2 years ago, and a team that is an international team itself, Manchester City, also a part of the Big Six. What did you find on Manchester City?
So Manchester City was founded April 16th, 1894. The sun was in Aries, the first sign. It's cardinal fire. It's ruled by Mars, the god of war. Like Liverpool, the moon was in Virgo. So very analytical, very critical. They know all the details of what's going on with their team. And because of that, they are very analytical and critical and maybe very harsh to what's going on with the team. They are, but extremely, like with the sun in Aries, the sun is in an exalted position in Aries. It's in a position of power. They know who they are. They have a really clear sense of self. Mercury and Venus are in Pisces, so there is like an intuitive nature to Man City and their fan base where they kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. And then Mars is in Aquarius, which means that they're motivated to really bring the community together. Their fan base is very important to them, and it's about like collectively kind of lifting the team to the elite or to the title, to the championship, and that's how they identify.
Interesting, because I don't know many Manchester City fans, and I'm looking forward to hearing from and learning that. But I do know that they do, again, expect greatness. I believe they travel well. I believe they have good away fans.
And, of course, Sean, we want to thank our buddy Scott Tajarian for his time. We also want to thank everybody who gave us their time at Amity Hall Downtown, including the owner, Rob Pye, who showed us a great time on match day and talked about the match day experience.
Rob, what team are you a fan of and why?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm just a rugby fan in general, but I got grandfathered into Man City purely because they're home of the Sky Blues of New York, the official supporters club of New York. And this place is fantastic for it.
And what does match day look like here at Amity Hall for people coming to
Well,
visit?
match day, we'll show you in a second, but match day here, kick off the season against Wolves. The Wolves did fantastic last year, but Manchester are going to take this win, and everyone's super excited for the season.
And how long has Amity Hall been part of the NYC Sky Blues?
So it's been around 7-8 years now, because they kept on growing, and they outgrew the last venue. So we can provide some much bigger space with 2 floors, and we have all the staff to provide it for them as well.
I was buzzing for like 2 hours after leaving this event, just because it was so positive. Yes, it was a win, and a win over their rival. So of course, everyone's going to have that amazing energy. But just everyone was singing and chanting, and there was not a dry eye in the book.
And Sean, on that note, I don't know that there's a more fitting way for us to wrap up this episode talking about Man City.
There is no better way for a fan to walk out of watching a game than to their victory song. For Marc, Erne, I'm Sean Castles. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Ultra World Podcast.
This has been the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc Erne and Sean Castles. Our executive producer is Sue Zizza. Marc Erne and Sean Castles are co-producers. David Shin is our master engineer. Assistant producer, Avery Gehrig, and I'm Alicia Antwine. To be a guest on the Ultra World Podcast or learn all about sponsorship opportunities, send an email to ultraworldpod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow the show on all the social media platforms at Ultra World Pod. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved, Ultra World Podcast, LLC.